Ulonga tabati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun, lọ́ fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisa Gbemi, and today we are joined by none other than our distinguished community elder, Oloye Baba Ifa Karade. Alafia, peace and blessings, Baba. How you doing today?
I'm feeling very, very good, brother. Very, very good. Okay. Everything is everything, as we used to say back in the day. Everything is everything. It's all good. It's an honor. It's a grace to be here. Okay. Peace and blessings to you, Shabami, and to all of our wonderful people who tune in to the Ashe channel. All right.
Ashe.
Lafiani.
Yes, sir. Nah, I appreciate it, Baba. And shout out to the Orisa Institute, was in full effect tonight in class. Shout out to all the Orisa Institute members who showed up and showed out tonight. Phenomenal master's class presentation by none other than the Oloye himself. Phenomenal information, phenomenal feedback, phenomenal camaraderie, all the things that the tribe is, accustomed to doing, pouring in the ebbs and flows of reciprocity, man. So, with that, I want to give a shout out to the new channel members that we had that has joined the channel this past week. I appreciate you all. Got some updates coming for that. So I'll be sharing some posts in the all levels of the communities in regards to like getting everybody's email addresses so I can kind of share with everybody the updates that we have going on the back end of the communities, as well as, all the announcements that we have for a lot of things that are coming up. So with that, bye-bye. Man, very profound last, I say about 2 or 3 shows, man, especially last week when we went back to back with the Readers and Divinations 1 and 2. And phenomenal feedback, man. Shout out to everybody who's been showing love in the comments, or the people who's been reaching out, whether it's on social media, whichever avenue that you've been reaching out. But shout out to the love and support for the people who are letting us know about the impact. One of them I meant to send you. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was a sister who was saying how when we were speaking about Emoja, how you like really kind of created one of those like forever moments that I feel like Ifa Segun was talking about in the class, one of those moments that really kind of suspended in time, and was something that was special, to the queen. And so I appreciate her for sharing that feedback. And I had to send it to you, Baba, because I saw it the other day and I wanted to send it to you for you to get the, firsthand response to it. But it was a profound testimonial, and it just goes to show the appreciation and the love and support that goes, deep into the people who are part of the tribe and the Ashe Nation. So with that, I want to give you your flowers and shout out to the queen for the testimonial. We definitely appreciate the support, and we'll give thanks that the message was able to resonate with you on that level. And yeah, man, I'm ready to get it going. So you talk about legacy and Ifa Isese, I feel like, hell, that's a good place to start if any, man. Speaking about the legacy in which, you've had created here on Ashe, Baba.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Now, there is a, there is a sort of caution that I feel needs to be taken, and that's not a negative, my people. It's just a realization. Okay, because see, when we talk about legacy, it is impossible to do so without talking about our children. Be they our bloodline or be they our spirit line. Okay, be they our people from the past, in essence, to our genetics, who did not make it to adulthood. Okay, because of the horrors of history, or those who were what we term abiku. Okay, did not make it through the passage onto this plane, or who did but did not stay with us for a long time. Okay, so when we talk about legacy, we must include how we not only prepare ourselves, but how we prepare for our children. Now, questions, start to bubble up, if you will. Can a child who has passed on, again, the horrors of history, a bhikkhu, disease, okay? Can that child who has not had children be an ancestor? Okay. Now, of course, once again, these are areas that are not often discussed. These are areas that are not often a part of our Ifa and Isese journey. And I personally find that it's a missing piece, a very large missing piece in the puzzle or the construction of what it is we are envisioning, what it is we are building. Okay. Brother, could you take the statement down? Hey, Queen, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now I'm not saying that I'm going to present all the answers right here, right now. Okay. But as thought is stimulated, as insight is seen, okay, when we look for the insight to this area of what about our children, and what about the children who could not, did not become mothers and fathers themselves? Okay. Because that realm also exists. And I say again that from what I've experienced, okay, from 1986 to right here, right now, is that we grown folks in Ifa and Isese tend not to give as much attention to the legacy that we're leaving for our children. Again, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just stating an observation. Okay. We have so many terms and so many directions that we're going in, and so much that we need to do for ourselves, and all that we feel as though is being, done to us as opposed to being done for us. And all of what we're attempting to reach, as far as I'm involved, in Ifa, or I'm involved in Isese, or any of the syncretisms. But I do not hear a serious approach to the legacy that we're leaving, and to whom we're leaving that legacy to. Okay? That doesn't seem to be at the forefront. Not saying that it's not there, just saying that it doesn't seem to be at the forefront. And there's definitely not in motion a like collective movement to really discuss this and set in a strategic way what we who are involved in Ifa and Isese are going to do for our children. Okay. Now I'm just going to hit a few high notes and then sit back, go over any responses, and then continue on. Addressing this very sensitive topic, because see, I do realize that many people, dare I say most people, who get involved with Ifa and Isese have their own personal reasons for doing it. They're seeking the surreal. They're seeking the metaphysical, and for all of the reasons that can't be interpreted as anything but good. Everybody has a right, to move as their spirit moves them. But again, it gets a little touchy and a little sensitive when we start bringing children into the picture, even if we don't bring them into the picture. Okay. Connected again with legacy. So please try to follow me here, okay? Because the two are braided together, the legacy and the children. Now, we always hear about someone being a living legend, okay? This person is a living legend, be it sports or arts or academia, okay? This person has left their mark. Okay. And infrequently, we may hear of their children. And generally, it's a superstar kind of statement, like LeBron James and his child. Okay. Noted other social media influencers, influencers, etc. But I'm talking about the mass of people. I'm talking about the majority of people who involve themselves in Ifa and Isese. Okay. We tend to look at the legendary. We really do. Even the Orisha, legendary. Okay. But I want us to consider also looking at becoming a living legacy, not just resting on being a living legend, but taking the personal, responsibility. The onus is on us to strive to become a living legacy for our children. And that takes some strategizing. Okay. That takes something more than, okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C. Okay. Oh, do I take my 2-year-old to get a divination? Okay. All right. Not realizing that perhaps that wouldn't be a good thing to do. Do I give my 7-year-old warriors and the like? Okay. Do I put money into that area of their unknowing lives without taking into consideration the impact that it's having on them and the legacy that I'm leaving for them? Is it more of me wanting it for them or feeling as though am I trusting of whatever is told to me? Well, your little child needs to have this, and on all the Orisha, and again, there's 7 years old or 6 or 5 years old. I mean, is that the legacy? You know, I would question, okay, because most of us who are listening to this channel, I would dare say, did not go through those type of stages when we were that age. Okay. And even the religious steps that we were guided to and through are still confusing. It's like, all right, well, make sure you say your grace before you eat. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And it's like, okay, so we do it, but do we really have an understanding of why we're doing it? Make sure you say your prayers before you go to bed. You know what I mean? Okay. We do it, but at 5 years old, I mean, do we really know who we're praying to or what we're praying to or why we're praying to it? I mean, let's really, look at this and not, shy away from the fact that is that really a part of a legacy? Or is it a part of a instructional, design with hopes for a betterment, a betterment of person or a protection? Okay. But again, a very sensitive area, but one worth considering since we are into spirituality and quote unquote religiosity. We can't just walk around like our children don't matter, or they're just going to do what we set for them to do, whether they understand it or not, whether they're ready for it or not. Okay. And I'm going to go way out at this point and state that for all of the money that I hear that has been spent on getting children, various, Orisha and various, implements. Okay. 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. And I'm going to share with you right now, if anybody ever came to me, with Baba Ifa Karade, can you do this and do that for my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old, my 5? Like, no. And if you really, are considering leaving a legacy, you can take that $2,000 and buy stock. You can start to, see that there is also an Orisha of taking care of business, taking care of family, investing in the future of that child, and teaching the child as the child grows how to be proficient in business. For example, for example, because there are people who they save up for the child's college, but if the child doesn't go to college, then the money can be transferred to something else, investment in a business. Okay, but no, we will continue to spend money on the surreal and the supernatural with the greatest of self-directed motivations. Okay. And I know this is dangerous territory. Okay. But I dare, to bring it to our table for conversation, for discussion. I'm not even trying to tell anybody what to do. I'm just trying to bring across from my observations what I've seen as being as one very, very deep sister shared with me, spiritual violations. Okay. So we're going to, consider, at least thinking about, becoming living legacies. Okay. What is a legacy? A legacy is that which is given from one's own being, okay, to a future generation. That future generation, in turn, can go into that pool, if you will, and take from it what's necessary for them to continue on and move to greater accomplishments and higher ground. Greater accomplishments and higher ground. Okay. So just something to think about. Now, I have it broken down with such an inheritance, such a legacy, okay, stated in Yoruba as Jinki, okay, or Iwa. We leave a legacy of our character. Or you're just like your grandfather, okay? When he was your age, he was very, determined to get things done. He left that. That's part of his legacy, right? And then we have Ogun, not to be confused with Ogun, the Orisha. Okay. So there are terms within our tradition, within our ancestral reality, that bring to light the need for becoming a living legacy. Okay. And that legacy is a moment-to-moment statement, because that child is watching and attempting to understand everything that we're doing. I've had back in the day, people come to me that the child's having nightmares. They see my issue thing, and the child's subconscious mind is trying to process it, but has nothing to process it on. You can't just say, well, I'm giving my child, the one hand of Ifa, and the child's like 4.5 years old and knows nothing about Ifa, knows it's zero. Again, that money could be spent on an investment that will, over time, via dividends and interest, amount to something when the child's 14, 24 years old. You see? So what are we in the business of doing? All right. Again, just something to think about. Okay. All right. So inheritance comes via genetics. It comes via one's physical being. Okay. It comes through one's character. It comes through one's mental state, and it comes through one's spirit. Okay. The legacy that my grandmother left me was not money. See, we tend to get real material, but it's not just material, a legacy. Okay. My grandmother left me a deeper understanding about life, and a deeper understanding about, the deepness of life. And I carry that legacy with me. It took a while to understand it. It took a while to, for it to sink in, because we all wild as the wind, until we get grounded and start to understand. But because that legacy is there, okay, once the soil became fertile, the seed began to grow. What do we see as legacy? Okay, well, again, we understand our genetic makeup. We understand our physical aspects. We understand our character. Where do we learn this character from? Who are we watching? What what legacy are they leaving for us? Family members, loved ones, associates. We're all impacted, okay, by the resonating of beings around us. Okay. And then we start to, as adults, pull together what legacy is being built around me and what legacy actually seeps into me and becomes part of who I am. And now, what legacy am I leaving? Am I becoming a living legacy as a result of my involvement in Ifa and Isese? Or am I even thinking about it? Okay. Then there's a spiritual aspect. Now I'll go over this last part. Okay. I talked about investments. Okay. Now, granted, people do what they want to do with their money. Okay. People do what they want to do with their time. But we also do what we're conditioned to do, socially engineered to do. We chase the catch, as we say in rowing. Okay. We hurry to get something without even exercising any, technique or methodology. We're chasing the catch. We're just chasing the go-getness. Oh, I need more pots, or my child needs, all of this kind of thing. And I'm like, says who? What are you chasing? And what are you abandoning as a result of the chasing? Okay. There's no guarantee that the child's gonna grow up more spiritual or not. I mean, honestly speaking, all of us sitting here aren't driven by, Christianity to the degree because, because we're here and we're moving up along the Ifa Isese way to the greater degree, but we're not sitting up in church as we were grown to do. So what really makes you think in a guaranteed kind of way that just because you're putting that on basically an infant, that they're going to grow up to be what? And do what? Okay. When we start considering the legacy that we want to leave, it doesn't really pan out. It just doesn't. And I'm speaking as an elder. Young folks, you're going to do what you think you want to do. But I'm sharing with you now that even when I raised my own, okay, I didn't put all those kind of constraints on them. But I did homeschool them. And then when they went to school and there were problems with their history teacher, for example, putting out some foolish, DEI rhetoric, and they let me know, oh, I was at that school, because that's the legacy that I needed to leave, the legacy while I was living, that you're going to stand up for yourself, and you're going to stand up for yourself as your people. Not how many Orisha you have, but that's the legacy that I was leaving. And I'm going to invest in you to understand the Orisha of business so that you can be an independent young adult. But that's the legacy that I'm setting the example for. That's just me. Everybody, you do what you do, but I'm sharing with you from what I've come to understand over the years. Many of us don't even think about it. Okay. So our investments. Then we have our survival teachings. What kind of legacy are we leaving in that regard? Okay. And of course, all this we're going over more deeply in the OGC Institute, but I'm just laying out a framework now as something that's thought provoking. All right. Moral instructions, accomplishments. The legacy that I'm leaving is through my books. Okay, that's my accomplishment. Okay, of being a teacher, of being a professor, of being a babalao, being a priest of Obatala. Those are my legacies. Okay, and it's not just because I'm nearer to death, than I was yesterday. It's because I realize, and I hear it from my nieces and nephews. They go into a bookstore or whatever, and they say, somebody said, well, here's a book, a handbook written by Baba Ifa. Oh, that's my uncle. Okay, that's my uncle. That's uncle. Okay, and it's like that's the legacy. And so now their children are academic, and they've fallen into that legacy of this is what the bloodline is producing. And now one of them have an Orisha pot, but they have Orisha, they have Ifa, because they have it from the legacy, that pool that they quench their thirst of knowledge from. Okay. And then lastly is that of questions. The legacy that I would say is very important. And I do share this with my students right up to this afternoon, is that dare to question the system, question faith factors, question the who you are, question what you're seeing, okay, and what you're sensing. And all the time, there's no answer, but it's more important that you ask the question. Okay. So in closing for this portion of the podcast, okay, it's about becoming a living legacy, about looking at every moment and everything and really again questioning, is this what I actually want to leave at any given moment? Okay, any given living moment. Is this what I want my child? Is this what we want our children in Ifani Sheshe to inherit from us while we're still living? Because that is what's happening. That is a part of becoming a living legacy. Okay. And to say that our people, prior to colonialization and prior to the invasion, and again, the heavy and sometimes very horrible hand of history, we just can't say that our people weren't involved in this, weren't discussing this. We have words for it, so therefore it must be. Okay. And what do you think when people were building empires in the Great Wall of Benin, and when people have been surviving in Ile Ife? Well, I mean, actually, what do you think the people were doing, and how they were living, and how important legacy meant to them? It took 600 years to build the Wall of Benin. Okay. And you look at 20 years being a generation, you do the math. Okay. And we can also look at the pyramids of Kemet. Nothing was built overnight. But everyone who did anything to bring about the accomplishment, the totality of the work, knew that they were living legacies. They were living legacies. It's a part of who we are. And it's a part of what was stripped from us. Okay. It's part of what was stripped from us at every turn. Okay. But we're going to fight to get it back. And Ifani Sheshe is a way to do it. Ashe. Baba Ifa Karade.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, that's whew, it's a lot to digest. That's a lot. One of the things that's been, hold on a second, Baba.
Take your time, brother.
One of the things that's been a current constant theme as of late in regards to like some of my personal conversations has been I think the intentionality of being intentional with taking the training wheels off. And like what I mean by that is like not being overly concerned about the confines or the restrictions that which happens in certain, I guess, elays or spiritual temples or houses, churches, whatever you want to call it, halls, whatever. In regards to like with this tradition, right? I feel like there's a very large impact on people's, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say fear for all circumstances. I think some circumstances, but not all, but people's reluctance to want to seek knowledge for self, to seek enlightenment, empowerment, education in this tradition for self. And then like the construct, the educational, or I should say psychological construct that is the putting in the box, the cookie cutter mentality. What are your thoughts in regards to people who are new in the journey or new with their development of the journey for the growth aspect, the growing and phasing aspects? You mentioned business earlier. If you're starting a business, you definitely want to have projections, and you want to have evaluations of financial projections of where you want to go, in regards to where you are. So same thing with spiritual growth, or whether it's physical growth. If you're working out, your regimen in the gym, you want to track, you want to have measurable results, right? So in regards to the legacy, and I can't wait to hear your answer, because you always go somewhere where I don't know where you're going to go. But in regards to legacy, where would you put your emphasis on a person solidifying their own personal legacy for the sake of self, knowledge of self, and the sake of their own personal development for their journey, um, and taking the independence of that, within themselves, to kind of leave that legacy for the sake of their growth and their growth and scaling, expansion level of their journey?
Now, being that we're all adults, okay, I would say that to go on a spiritual journey, one must consider at this stage the impact of legacy.
Mm.
Okay. And because, again, this is not a part of the dialogue in our spirituality. We're all over here, we're all up there, we're all, we're frantic, okay? Because we're wounded.
Mm.
You understand? We've been traumatized. We've been dehumanized. Okay. And even though it may appear that we're okay, that's only the outer appearance. And the social engineering that goes on in this country and in this world, as greater veils are removed with the current political climate, not even going to go into that, but it becomes evident that those who wound us will not let us heal, because every time we heal and pull it together and become self-sufficient, because we become self-sufficient as individuals, we now can become self-sufficient as groups, and as groups we can become self-sufficient as neighborhoods and not just hoods. We can become self-sufficient as communities who commune. Okay. Every time we hit those upper tiers, here they come. Okay. Here they come. So to attempt to navigate around that and turn to spirit as a possible healing medicine, if you will, a healing grace, if you will, like come over term with a metaphysical therapy. Okay, and we understand why, regardless of the making us into Christians, that what other recourse did we have? Generation after generation of being enslaved. So that's understood. Okay. But yet and still, we are only kind of permitted to flourish in what serves the greater society's picture. Okay. Now, and again, I'm speaking generally. There are clearly exceptions, but for the most part, when we start looking at the riots against us and the lynchings against us and the murders, acts against us politically and even spiritually, okay, we find that trying to get with our legacy is quite a process, because we have to overcome so much. We have to overcome the psychological trauma. We have to overcome, the genetic transference of trauma as well. We know we have to overcome the complete, and total destructiveness brought about by distraction. Okay. So if someone came to me and said, I'm looking at the legacy of myself, I would have to say, I get you. I get you. Because you're going to get to a certain point on this journey. How I know? Because I've been down this road. Okay. As an elder, I've been down this road. That you're going to get to a point where it's not going to be all about you. No, it's going to be about who you leave the legacy to, who you leave the legacy for. That's what I need to say. Who do you leave your legacy for? After you got yourself all legacied up, if I may, then who is it for? What is your greater value? Only to yourself or to others? Or are you just doing everything for you because it's all in your head? You're not taking others into consideration? That doesn't seem very, very open, but I understand it, because you're going to have to go through that to get to higher ground. Everybody want to be at the top of the mountain, but nobody want to climb. Okay. And I'm saying that you can start climbing with that notion, okay, that you have to pull on your legacy, get everything you can from every place you can. Okay. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your mom, your dad, you got to remember, Isese is what happens from the generational part of us. The womb, the hips, the reproductive organs. Okay. We're grounded in Isese based on the generational and the regenerational. Okay. So I would say to that person in closing, okay, get to your roots. Okay. But the roots are the only part of the tree. Okay. And then you will grow, and your fruit and the seeds of your fruit will be made known. Okay. That's what I would say, Baba Ifa Karade.
Ashe. Yeah, that's powerful. Very powerful. We got a lot of comments too.
Oh, great.
A whole lot. See if I got any questions in here. Start sharing them now. Just to start getting them out there. But yeah, so that's powerful. So let me ask you this, because this is something that I've seen in multiple scenarios as well. And I would like to get your opinion on it, especially in regards to people who are newer in their journey or may even be seasoned in their journey, but just from you having over 4 decades of experience in this tradition, especially like even in the priestly order, regards to families, right? So let's say practitioners, devotees who were in the tradition, that I know it's one thing for family to not necessarily agree with or, co-sign, certain spiritual traditions if it's out of the norm and out of the traditional Western civilizational spiritual system. But what about the parents who were devotees who Ifa Isese really resonates, but their children, it doesn't necessarily resonate with them? How do you foresee a practitioner, devotee, priest, priestess, babalawo, Iyanifa, etc., who firmly believes in this spiritual tradition and this system, but their children don't? Where would you advise them in regards to trusting the process of knowing that everything's going to be fine, whether the children ever adapt to this spiritual system or not? How there's still a great way to have a great relationship, even in regards to faith systems, without having to dominate it as us being the practitioner.
I truly believe, and I know I talked about the difference between believing something and thinking something. You know what I mean? I truly believe in the deepness of my experience and my studies, is that what you just laid out would be the most mature directive. Okay? If, for example, my wife and myself are, deeply into Ifa Isese. I mean, we go to all the bempes and, we make elbows every other day. We in it. Okay? We sing songs. And then we got teenagers. Okay? Now, they may have went along hand in hand when they were smaller because, they didn't really have a choice. Okay? But now that they have greater opportunities because they are teenagers, and we could say they're rebelling, or we could say that children come through us. They don't really belong to us. You know what I mean? And so if that becomes a problem within the home, then I dare say it's not the child's fault. How can it be? She's 13 years old. She's 14 years old. The parents are in their 40s. But they're gonna go, ballistic because the child that's like, and then and we mentioned this in the past when I told my mother I don't want to get baptized. Did I know what spirit was moving me? How come I didn't want to do it like everybody else was doing it? And be, hand walked to the water. And then the preacher over there talking about, now you baptize in the name of the Lord and all that kind of stuff. And in my youthful spirit, it was like that's not me. I can't do it. Now, Mom, are you gonna beat me? Are you gonna beat me into submission to your God? Or are you gonna be my mother? Make the choice. Because whatever you choose is going to have a rippling effect for the rest of our lives. You know it, and I know it. Okay? I might not can stop you from that strap, but there's going to be other ways. Okay? So Where are the adults in the room? Okay. Now, and that's what I mean by legacy, my brother, because because she chose to understand that she was my mother first, not some spiritual overlord or some religious, commander, you better believe in what I believe or you're going to get hurt. It's like, no, but what she left in me as a legacy was that I need to be more understanding of anyone, and as I grew to have my own children, to say, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
I get you. And that's what I want to leave in my living legacy understanding. Not that I'm forcing you to do what I want to do or what I want you to do. Are you doing good in school? Or are you keeping up? Are you staying out of trouble? Or are you on the street with fentanyl or whatever? What are you doing that I need to make you, chain you, drag you into what I believe and give up my relationship with you as my child? As I shared with no, I am your Ide. I am your Elekes. I am your Orisha. I am Ifa. And I need to show you the maturity of that. I need to show you the deeper understanding of that, because anybody can drag their child into some place and say, well, you're going to do this or I'm going to make you understand it. I'm like, no, I got better things to do with you, my daughter. I got better things to do with you. Like getting to know you, okay, and getting you to know me. So in closing, brother, that is not only how I see it, that's how I've lived it.
Mm.
And my children, independent, fine, broke all kinds of generational curses, with teen pregnancy and all that kind of stuff. Ain't none of it. Mother, they don't even want kids, and they in their mid-20s and whatever, and living on their own because they want to explore life, because I always traveled and I always brought them back something from wherever I had gone. I was in Trinidad, so I bring back some Trinidadian stuff, and I put maps up on the walls, in the hallway, so that they could see that there's a larger world out there.
I sure.
As children. And it's something that they weren't, hammered into in school. But this is how my father lived. This is the legacy that he left. He left us the world. But no, I'm going to make you bow down in front of SU and then force you to wear, this, that, and other thing. It's like, come on, where are the adults in the room? Where am I showing the greater elevation or ascension because of my faith? Because that's what the child is going to latch on to.
I sure. Yeah. And you're talking about divine timing. That's right on time. Shout out to Shy Goddess, because she literally, her and Ballerina, which shared some comments that's right in alignment. She was like, whether it's the children or the others that, people may grow to know their behavior, but based off of the fruits of their, their behavior, the Iwa Pele, they can see for themselves. You know what I mean? Like pretty much. And that's something that I'm a firm believer in as well, because one thing about anything for that matter is you lead by example, right. I was just talking to another elder like a week or two ago, and we was talking about something. I can't remember what the subject was, but it was about people who like feel like they have to declare or make a declaration of who they are, what they've accomplished, and things of that nature. But my perspective from that has always been, when a lion walks in the room, the lion doesn't walk in the room and roar for everybody to know that he walked in the room, right? It just walks in the room. But everybody in that room knew who just walked or what just walked in that room, whether it be the king lion or the queen lion. Doesn't matter if it's the female or the male. If a lion walks in the room, you know what just entered the room. And you don't have to, as the lion or lioness per se, doesn't have to proclaim who and what they are, because everyone who's in that room just witnessed the presence of, a lion walking in that room. So I feel like to paint the picture in a metaphor or a metaphorical, aspect of that is that if you are Ifa Isese and you are someone who has worked, on a daily basis to self reinitiate yourself, then your Iwa Kwele and your Ashe is going to speak for itself, and it's going to, it's going to project, and it's going to, you know what I mean? It's going to kind of embody or immerse all of those who are around them, because that's how powerful the energy of Ifa and Isese is, at least from what I've seen from my experiences with it, that you don't have to be someone trying to force feed anything on anybody. Like if you just do what you do and you live it the way, you're learning it or you're seeking to develop it, then that within itself, to me, I feel like is enough for it to, for it to impact and influence people, whether they're in the tradition or not.
Right, right. Or whatever level they're on. Because you might be in it, but I'm not interested on the priesthood, and I don't want to make bows, and especially I don't want to make bow at Jay's. And can I just walk my ancestor walk the way that I walk it? Now I got to be taken through all this, and then there's the fear mongering. Oh well, if you don't do this, then the Orisha going to do this and all that kind of stuff. I mean, save that for the Catholic side of town. Okay, as long as I am attentive to Ashiwada, the Allah Ashe, and as long as I am attentive to the taboos that my body is telling me. If every time I eat ice cream, I get mucused up and catch a cold, do I need somebody to do a reading to say you need to stop eating ice cream? No, I listen to my body. See, but again, we have terms for that. Okay. Agbon Inu. Okay. The inner essence, even your gut feelings is defined within the Ifa Isese construct. Okay. Agban Inu. Okay. Agban Ori. What is your inner head telling you? What, are you listening to yourself right now? Or do you have to go and let somebody tell you and you like 40, 49, 59 years old already? You understand? See, this is a part of the programming of the non-adult in an adult body. Okay, and personally, I refuse it. I always have, as a Babalao. Okay, with I was initiated. Okay, it's just something that I personally cannot embrace. Okay, but I digress. So the whole thing is, we must think and determine, okay, with our own inner consciousness, because remember, Ori is not just the head. And I posted something on Karade Nation where some scientific research, when a person passes on, a majority of their cells continues to live. And so science is starting to rethink what actual death really is. And I was like, well, yeah, they're catching up. They're catching up to what our ancestors knew thousands of years ago. Okay. Because that consciousness remains, and then it becomes a part of something else. Okay. The cells still vibrate. Okay. We're still here, even after we're gone. The only thing that changes is the awareness of it. It's a different type of awareness, but it's awareness nonetheless. It's a different type of consciousness, but it's consciousness nonetheless. This is not some, religious, we're going to pull the chain and the door opens and everybody think it's opening by the hands of God or whatever. People down there pulling the chain. It's like, okay. It's not no sleight of hand. You know, we're talking real here. We're talking real. Okay. So it's important that we learn to listen to our Ori, and not just our head, but our whole body. And if our body is telling us that there's certain foods that we shouldn't eat, right? That there's certain things that we shouldn't take ourselves through. There's certain people that we shouldn't get with. And our body is telling us, and then we do it, and then it's like, I knew I shouldn't have done that. But you daggone right, you knew you shouldn't have done it. But the question now becomes, why did you do it even when you knew you shouldn't have done it? And now Orisha going to come fix everything for you. So you hope and even pray, you know. But remember, Orisha is exactly that. The empowerment of your own Ori. That is the supreme Ori. Your own consciousness. See? But see, all this Abrahamic stuff got us all outside of ourselves. And we're missing, you know, the major ingredient, the major part of our social engineering, not somebody else's social engineering, like enslavers, okay, but our social engineering from more than 6,000 years ago, not 600 years ago, 60,000 if I really wanted to go deep beyond Ife Odaye, the first Ile Ife. So are we just going to dismiss all of that? Of what our ancestors were really about? I think it would be unwise to do so. I think it would be unwise to do so. Okay? So again, we have our Ori, our consciousness, which continues on. Our total body is our Ori. Okay. Then we have Agbani Nu, which is basically like our gut reaction, our instinctual. Okay. And then we have our Agban Ori, which is that inner voice, that deeper inner voice. So see, we're not studying this in Elays. We're all out here. And to the supernatural. Well, guess who's more supernatural than anything? You are. Okay. So that said, brother, um, again, much to contemplate.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. No, that's real. And with that, what would you say would be like one of the final thoughts you would want us to take based upon all the wealth of knowledge and wisdom and understanding that you dropped on us tonight in regards to everything, which is a lot. So I already know this one of the ones you kind of watch a couple times, like to get it, you know what I'm saying, for it all to sink in, because it really was a lot of information disseminated, and it covered a lot of ground as well. So with that, what would be the like takeaway that you would want us to kind of put together as an overview or a summary of what we all kind of soaked in today, what we all kind of immersed ourselves into with the message from tonight's podcast?
Well, we'll go 360 degrees, brother. All right. Think deeply about, really, really contemplate this directive of being a living legacy. Okay. I know I've not heard the term before. Spirit just whispered it in my ear shortly before the podcast. Again, we hear about living legends and everybody, gets all excited about that. But we don't seem to get excited enough about the legacy that we're leaving for our children and the children whose spirits, are still within the air that we breathe, within the memories that we have. You know, our mothers have lost children. Okay. Now they may have had children other than the ones they've lost, but those children were still part of her. She carried that child for 9 months, if that long. And the fathers, okay, also affected, of course, in ways other than the mother, but not, you know, carelessly and with unconcern. And even if they did show it as what we are projected to be as Black males, well, we don't care about our babies, we're just breeders, okay? But there is a spiritual rippling that affects both parents when a child passes on. Different degrees, different ways, but still there. And those of us who have the spiritual eyes, we can see it. Okay. So we are set to better understand the wounds that we suffer and how deeply set they are, because we are on spiritual paths. We're involved in spirituality, African spirituality, Ifa Isese spirituality / quote unquote religiosity, quote unquote. And so that kind of means something. That kind of means that we're endeavoring to become seers like our ancestors were, and not just putting a plate down for our ancestors, but attempting by all means to see through their eyes and to become a part of the living Egbe, if you will. Okay? To become a part of a people and not just an ideal of a people. And in closing, to be very cognizant of each moment as a moment upon moments that makes us a living legacy for our children. Our children. Ashe.
Ashe, that's powerful. Nah, yeah, that's a mic drop, man, for sure. Yeah, that was powerful. Shout out to Sound Ghost. I ain't seen you in a minute, man. Appreciate you stopping through and joining us, family. Yeah, no, that was powerful, Baba. And kind of like what we were speaking about earlier in the institute call. As things have progressed over the last 3 to 4 weeks or whatever, I've been able to see a lot of things and be exposed to a lot of different environments and circumstances and situations, and it's like it gives me a greater appreciation for where we are as a people, and where we are, especially with the community and the tribe and the nation. So, with that, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the family for the love and support, all the tribe members who came through. Everybody came through hot and heavy today, man. We had a full class, a full tribe, a full event, man. I appreciate all the love and support. Shout out to Bro Consul, Agbo Alto family. Appreciate you stopping through, man, and showing love. So with that, bye-bye. I appreciate you. We got a lot more in store for the people. I can't wait to get some of these new blueprints that we're working on, man, to the next level of the engineering phase, man, and getting them on the assembly line for us to put them out here for the people. So with that, yeah, I kind of throw that little teaser out there. I'll throw that out there for the tribe, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to tease the teaser, okay? It's already on the assembly line. And I want to give a shout out to Oshuniyi. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Olabanji. I want to give a shout out to to Sister Shot, and give a shout out to Sister Adeola. Okay, these Karade sisters, by their own choosing, are making the legacy happen. They are living the legacy. Even as we speak, they are taking the blueprint.
We're gonna make it do what it do, babe. We're gonna make it do what it do.
So
Yes,
it's
sir.
happening. We got a deadline, 45 days.
I said, that's what's up. Yeah, man. Now that's dope. And shout out to our tribe too, man, because that's the same thing with me. I'm looking for the legacy builders, man, because it takes a team, it takes a tribe for real to do anything. Nobody could do anything by themselves. LeBron didn't win a championship by himself. Jordan didn't have his repeat by himself. He needed a whole surrounding cast, and a squad to help, bring his levels and his talent level to the next level. So it's like we all need, some sort of support system in a tribe or a team, in order to make mountains move. And so I give thanks to you and for our tribe, for the members of the Institute and members of the channels. We got a lot in store coming up. And so with that, family, I appreciate the love and support, and we will definitely see y'all on the next episode. We'll be back soon for sure. And peace, blessings, E-Ray, and nothing but Ashe. We are out. We'll see y'all on the next episode. We out. Peace. Odabo.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtẹ́ ní takisá ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your.